Well, welcome. This is Pastor Carlton Hours here at Oregon Lutheran Church. Again, we're going to delve into our Common Sense Theology series. We're looking at suffering, radical evil, if you will. And the last time we looked at the deterministic answer that people come up with, that it's God's will that this happened. And we kind of walked you through several things why God's will is not for evil or suffering to happen to people. And that things just happen. Now, we can merit suffering. We can bring it upon ourselves. As we suggested the last time, if I rob the bank, they will catch me and I'm going to suffer because I'm going to jail for that. I brought that suffering upon myself. That's merited suffering. But what we're dealing with is unmerited suffering. And radical evil is unmerited suffering. These things just happen. Now, a lot of people will give an answer when something bad happens that cannot be explained. And they'll use what is called the didactic answer, which is just the teaching answer. God's teaching me something. Well, we can learn something sometimes through suffering. Sometimes we grow in suffering. But is God's purpose itself to bring suffering up on us and to teach us something? And I think we can, with great confidence, say no. God is not bringing up on us to teach something. He may use it that way. But people will use things like this. Maybe something will happen. I have even heard situations where people will bring up that a child died very early in their life and that God was using that to teach somebody a lesson. Now that, my friends, is a sad situation if God is going to take the life of a child or of somebody else to teach their parents a lesson or their grandparents or somebody else. You see, the suffering of God is not brought upon us this way. God does not bring suffering upon us. He is not here to do that. Again, we may learn, but He's not going to take somebody's life. He's not going to destroy something just to teach us a lesson. Let's go back to 9/11. What was God teaching people that day? What was He doing on that day? Where was He? I don't think God was trying to teach them anything that day. It was just a terrible thing that happened. I have seen people after catastrophes, natural catastrophes, maybe a tornado, a flood, a hurricane, something of this nature. And okay, God is teaching us something here. Really, God is going to teach you something by destroying towns, by flooding towns, by killing people. You see, God is a loving and a caring God. He doesn't do those types of things. Then there may come beyond that the athletic answer. God is exercising me. He is trying to help me to become stronger in Him. Well, we may become stronger. We may actually grow in our faith in God. But that's not the reason God is bringing calamity upon somebody. He doesn't do those things. God is a loving and a caring God. He is a merciful God. He's a loving God. He is not going to bring suffering upon people just to teach them a lesson or to help them to grow. Again, we can grow. We can get stronger. But God doesn't do those things. Now, some people may go back and say, well, look at Job. Look what happened at Job. Well, we have to be careful with that also, going back and looking at Job. Yes, God did take these things. Yes, God did teach some lessons. There were some things learned. But that's a very harsh reality to try to learn something from God. Again, God is loving. He's caring. He wants to help us. And I pray today that you would begin to look at suffering in a different way. Jesus says, sometimes we have to go through things. The night that Jesus began His suffering, before the night in which He was killed, before His trial and all that, He goes to the garden. And He prays many times for God to take this away from Him. God did take it away from Him, but He had to go through it. And after this, on the road to Emmaus, He begins to speak unknowingly to two disciples. They don't know who it is, and He reminds them, does not the Scriptures tell us that the Christ, the Son of God, would have to suffer many things? Yes, we all may suffer many things in our walk with God, But God is a loving God and a caring, and He is not here to really teach us lessons. He is far beyond that. He is not here to exercise our faith, if you will, because any faith we have comes from Him. I pray today this might help you a little bit to understand a little more of God. We're going to continue to delve into these subjects. If you have questions, please ask. We would love to talk with us about you. If you don't have a church home, you can come be with us. We would love to come and have you here with us. We're a teaching church. We try to get deep into God's Word. We're not a bunch of glib answers. We're not a bunch of generalities and platitudes. We're here to serve God. We're not here to entertain you either. We're here to help make disciples for Jesus Christ. I pray today that God would richly bless you and keep you this day and always. Thank you.